Hello. Today we're going to be taking a look at writing numbers, decimals, in expanded form. So we've already explored writing it in word form um, and so today we're going to be working with expanded form. But just to kind of review, we know that one whole is one. We know that a tenth is 1/10 of a whole. We know that a hundredth, 1/100th, is 1/100th of a whole. There's 100 that it takes to make one whole. And we know that 1,000th, 1/1000th, takes 1,000 of those tiny little pieces to make one whole. So it's 1/1000th of a whole. And we've talked some about place value as well. We know that we would write like 1/10 like this, 1/100th would be like this, and 1/1000th would have 3 place values. I always look at the number of zeros in my denominator, helps me to know how many place values I should have after my decimal point. Okay, but today we're going to be exploring writing values, writing decimals. Remember, they come in powers of 10, writing numbers in expanded form. And we're actually going to take a look at writing it in a couple different ways. We're going to look at writing expanded form using fractions and expanded form using decimals. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, here I have an example, 3 47/100. So if I think about what this is as a fraction, if I think about each of these values as a fraction, I know that with expanded form, I'm writing the value of each digit. So the value of the 3 is just 3. The value of the 4 is 4/10. So I'm adding 3 plus 4/10. And the value of the 7 is 7/100. So 7/100. So that is how I could write it using fractions. Now I could also do expanded form and kind of expand it even further by using some multiplication to go with this. So what that means is that, well, I'm looking at each digit and the place value. So I have 3 times 1. I have 3 ones. And then I have 4/10. So I actually have 4 times 1/10. So 4 times 1/10 is 4/10. And then what would this one be? Well, I have 7/100. So I have 7 times 1/100. And so I could write 3 47/100 using expanded form that includes multiplication, so I can see what I would be multiplying by each place value. Okay, I can also do the same thing with decimals. So 3 47/100, again, if I'm writing it in expanded form using decimals, instead of the fraction, I would write a decimal. So I still have 3 wholes. And for that, I don't need to put the decimal point with a 0 placeholder in the tenths. I can, but it's not necessary. And then I have 4/10. Now I do need a placeholder in my ones place. So I have 0.4, 0 and 4/10 plus 7/100. And remember, be very careful when you're writing your place value. It is in the hundredths place. So I have 3 47/100. And again, I could do this very similarly to what I did with the fractions. I could say that this is 3 times 1 because it's 3 ones. Then I could also say that it's 4 times 1/10. And I could also say that I have 7 times 1/100. So that is just showing you, honestly, 4 different ways to write it in expanded form. You will definitely see examples like this, as well as expanded form like this. So let's just take a look at doing a couple more examples in our notes, and then you will have some practice to do. All right, here we have 45 and 23 thousandths. So always pay very close attention to our place value. All right, so if we wanted to write this as a expanded form using fractions, well, we have to, again, make sure we're not just writing 45. We have to put everything in its place value. So the value of the 4 is 40. The value of the 5 is 5. The value here, we don't have any tenths, so I don't have to include that in my addition statement. So I'm going to move on to the hundredths. And for this, you do need your place value, your placeholder in the ones place, 0, and you also need a placeholder in the tenths place, showing that you don't have any. I have 2 tenths, and I also need to add my 3 thousandths, and I definitely did that wrong. That's a decimal, Miss Irwin, not a fraction. So that would be 2, sorry guys, hundredths, and it is also 3 thousandths. So here I'm showing it using fractions, and I can also show that same value using decimals in expanded form. So 40 plus 5 plus, and now I can use my 2 tenths, and also 0 and 3 thousandths. All right, you go ahead and give writing these using expanded form with multiplication a try, then check and see how you did. All right, so here's looking at it using fractions. And again, I've expanded everything into multiplication. So I have 4 groups of 10. I have 5 groups of 1, 45. I have 2 100ths, and I have 3 1,000ths. So I've used my multiplication. All right, what did it look like when you did that as a decimal? All right, when we wrote that out as a decimal, we have, again, 4 groups of 10, 5 groups of 1, 2 groups of 100th, and 3 groups of 1,000th. And just be careful, I accidentally started to write a 3 here in the thousandths place. Don't do that. Please make sure you have a 1 there. All right, I'm going to give you one more to try. Pause the video, do it on your own, and then you can continue just to check your answer. All right, here's your number, 20 and 347 thousandths. When you're finished, go ahead and check and see how you did. All right, here is our fractions. So 20 plus 3 tenths plus 4 hundredths plus 7 thousandths, and written that out in expanded form. 2 groups of 10, 3 groups of 1/10, 4 groups of 1/100th, and 7 groups of 1,000th. All right, and then I'll take a look at what that looks like as a decimal as well. All right, and here we have it written in decimals for expanded form. 20 plus 3 tenths plus 4 hundredths plus 7 thousandths. So 2 groups of 10 plus 3 groups of 1/10 plus 4 groups of 1/100th and 7 groups of 1/1000th. All right, so that is how you can write decimals in expanded form in 4 different ways. Great job, everyone. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I will see you later.